James.
I don't know, but I'll kick us off if he joins me and do a thing because I don't have a ton of time. So,
Okay.
hello everybody. This is Jetpack Swords, a super duper cool gaming podcast. I'm your host Greg, and I'm joined by other host Packy, and then our third host James is not here at the moment. And I believe he will be here, but I do not know for sure. And so we shall find out later. And so we obviously there's only one thing to talk about.
There's
Clearly.
only one game out right
Obviously.
now. They actually took
Yeah,
the rest of them
everything
down.
else, yeah, it's crazy. I'm who the fuck like who's in control of that? Who's the president of all of video gaming that deleted all of the other fucking ones? It's
Well, it's
ridiculous.
Nintendo. It's Nintendo's game.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. Nintendo definitely did this. For anybody who doesn't follow any form of any headline or social media or whatever, we're of course talking about Palworld.
Pokemon World.
Some people may refer to this as Pokemon with guns, other
Everybody.
as art with Pokemon, and other as Pokemon Forced Labor Camp. It just depends on your cup of tea and what you're really looking for. Excuse me, that was so gross. I'm so
I
sorry.
hope that's not what anybody's looking for. I'll put that out there. I hope nobody's like,
Pokemon
oh,
Forced Labor Camp.
Pokemon with guns. I sleep. Oh, Pokemon World. Don't care. Pokemon forced labor. Yeah.
Hey, I don't know. There's a lot of people that are really into that. I'm just saying.
It is really funny seeing on the Steam version you can name the Pokemon. You can't do that right now on the Xbox version. And one of the first names that I saw is someone just named it Cement Mixer. And that's Pokemon's only option in their base is it just mixes cement endlessly.
That is interesting. And there's definitely something to talk about, like the feature disparity there, which is definitely sad. And so yeah, so a little context about the game. So the game just came or didn't come out. It launched early access. It's $30. So it's a very reasonably priced game, which is, in my opinion, a very large factor in its huge success. Like
Of
30 bucks
course.
just makes it so very acceptable. It's impulse buy territory at that point, right? Like for a lot of people.
It's just
So
different. Just what a lot of like higher quality indie games have been doing. Not that this is like an indie game, but smaller
yeah.
scale games.
Hello.
Hello, hello,
Hello,
hello.
James.
I'm so
This
sorry.
is
Oh, you're
our
fine.
third host, James. He just woke up from a nappy, and that's
I
okay.
never take naps.
Now and again.
My head has been hurting all day, so I ended up accidentally falling asleep. So I'm here though. I'm here.
We are talking about Palworld, of course.
You've been
Okay,
playing?
I can
And
do that.
as I was
I played a little bit.
You haven't played
as I was saying,
30 hours.
so yeah, what's your game time at, Packy? Like, what's your game time at?
I haven't looked at it. It's probably 20 or 30 hours.
Wow,
It's
I would
insane.
bet at least 30.
6.2.
I played obsessively. It's not. It is worse because it's one of those where I've not. It's not like I've been playing consistently every single day. I have played it obsessively on the days that I've gotten the opportunity to play it. I
Yeah.
just sit down and I play like 7 hours over the course of a day in like a few different sessions. It has been gross. I'm convinced it's
Did
part
we
of why I got
start
back
on
pain.
and is that part of wait, what the fuck? Wait, can we circle back to that? Sorry. Did you say back pain because of Pal World?
I'm convinced because of the posture that I held, because that's one of the things, if you like hold a posture for too long. And so I'm just sitting there in like a bad slump, like shoulders in posture, like
I would believe it.
unmoving, like 3 or 4 hours, which I'm typically, like you play with me recently. I'm very, very good about, I'll take a break every 1 to 2 hours and just move and like get up and do something else besides gaming and then come back. You should.
I know.
For many
No, I really
reasons.
should.
But I do it mainly for like
The
flexibility.
reminders turned on. And it was funny, the first day that we really binged it, I remember seeing the reminder. I have it for increments of 2 hours. And I like breezed past the 2 and the 4 hour mark. At some point in there, I went and got lunch. So like I did stand up. But I remember the 6 hour, like, oh, you've been playing for 6 hours popped up. And I was like, I'm getting off, guys. Like, I was just like, I'm
You were
getting off.
there.
Bye.
We were playing with Max, and you have a good game. This is a bad thing, but one of the signs to me of an amazing game is like I'm sitting there and it's lunch. Like I've not eaten all day and it's lunch and I'm like, I want to keep playing. Like there's things I gotta do, but I physically need to eat. And like your desire to play the game is fighting your hunger, which is normally something that like, I feel like humans we just can't fight, right? Like everybody's been with someone who's hungry. They can no longer do anything. They are just focused on being hungry. And my desire to continue building my base and perfect my metal production was fighting my urge to eat.
I do not want to interrupt specifically, but
Please.
I'm curious. So I got it to play with my friend Jacob, our collective friend Jacob, whatever. And he really, 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 really likes it, like loves it. I think it's better than it should be because obviously it looks like the most just clusterfuck cash grab of a game at like face value, right?
Oh yeah.
But like it's pretty good beneath that. Like it does have some depth to back it up, despite it looking like a Breath of the Wild and Pokemon garbage mashup. Um, but like, what actually is it that's keeping you all engaged? Because like I think it's fine, but like I'm not gonna play it by myself. I'm not looking forward to playing it. Like I look forward to play it specifically because I know it makes Jacob happy, and obviously he's like my best friend, and I want to play with him. But like I don't care about it other than that. Um, but like I have been playing Enshrouded, which is the other streamer game that basically came out at the exact same time. And Enshrouded, I think, is not going to have a lot of long term, at least right now. But I've been enjoying that game a lot more. To me, that one feels more like Valheim to me, and I love Valheim. Like we put 60 hours in Valheim in like the first week, like ridiculous numbers. But Palworld does not grab me like that. So I'm curious to hear your all's takes on that.
I'm really glad you've played Enshrouded because as much as Palworld has gotten media attention because of the Pokemon aspect,
Yeah.
Enshrouded player-wise has done like very similarly well.
Yeah,
Like,
for
it has
sure.
also
That's why I said
far exceeded
streamer game.
expectations. And from everything that I've seen has like it is a better survival crafting game.
Yeah.
What I think, because I thought about this coming into this, was what is it about Palworld that has made it, besides like Pokemon and guns and that, I think it's how it does survival crafting. Like all survival crafties focus on, usually they're more focused on like the survival or the crafty. And this
Yeah.
is clearly one that's more focused on crafty.
Yeah. Agreed.
And and how you do that, like many lend themselves to more like, and it's what do you get rewarded with as you progress. And why Palworld works and why this idea was always going to be good is they tied the progression of your base and your just overall progression to catching Pokemon. Like you are now, whereas Pokemon, everybody wanted to inherently without there being a reward besides sending in your completed Pokedex and getting a certificate from Nintendo. There was no reward for collecting all the Pokemon, right? But people wanted to do it. And now that is core to the game is to collect all the Pokemon and get the best version, like EVs and stuff like that. Like stuff that really scratches that itch for people is built into the core DNA of the game. And if that like speaks to you, like I love going and finding the new Pokemon and finding a use for them and finding the absolute best one and then setting up a breeding farm to like create more of them to make the absolute perfect one. And that like makes the base better. Like that is what gets me.
I think that's what kind of
super cute.
They are really cute. I was gonna say, I think that's what kind of takes me out of it is one that I agree with you. I love that the Pokemon are not just there for the fighting. Like they serve a purpose in the base. I love that they have a practical, quote unquote, realistic thing. I think that's something that Pokemon, the franchise, could really do if they ever made like an Animal Crossing style Pokemon game that which would basically be like Palworld but actually licensed. I would totally be down for that. Where like, if you want to help build your village, you need to get a creature that can carry more. And so you can basically just doing like Ark and Animal Crossing with the actual Pokemon license. I'd be down for that. But like me personally, I haven't cared about Pokemon since I was a kid. I obviously know about the new games, but I don't have an interest. And so like I don't even understand the stats the game's trying to like I can see that it's very much relying on like some Pokemon typing and like the stats and stuff, but like I don't even understand any of that. I've just been using Jacob as my reference. But yeah, no, I get that. Greg, what were you saying?
We're just saying they're really cute. I mean, have you seen a Relaxosaurus? Go look up a Relaxosaurus. It's the most useless fucking cow. It's so useless and it's so cute. And
my
that's
favorite
all it needs to do.
That I've seen is in the game your base gets raided occasionally. The Leasepunks, the little like hoodie dinosaur guys.
Yeah.
I think Jacob caught one, but I haven't caught one yet. But they are my favorite design that I've seen in the game so far. I love them. They're also just a like Argonian from Elder Scrolls. They're just a lizard man that you've captured. It's not even like an animal.
You can also capture the humans. It's really
I
hard.
know.
You can
We haven't been
really
able to do
capture
it
them.
yet. But yeah, I thought that was funny too. And also kind of like
You thought the Pokemon
nightmarish.
Force labor camp wasn't like a thing, but you can capture the humans. Come on, back. The people who are capturing the humans are also in there for the like forced labor of these fucking adorable little pals because they're monsters.
Can you
I mean, that was the
breed
funniest thing.
the humans the way you can breed the Pokemon? Sorry, not
I
Pokemon,
haven't
the
seen
pals.
that yet, but I'm pretty sure you can't breed the humans because they
Okay.
don't have like a gender associated with them.
Well, I can't wait till they add that.
You
I
know
can't
what?
wait for
I
them
don't
to
think they
take their
will.
money and run.
I do not. I believe 100% that they will at some point. This game
I
already
don't wanna,
seems like we don't know what we're doing, and that's okay.
I don't want to speculate too much on them, like the company, because that's where definitely Greg I know is coming from. With this company has made 2 games before, they're both still in early access. That those 2 games assuredly will now not get finished,
Oh
and
yeah,
this one
100%.
very likely will be,
What else
as you
have they
described
made?
it. You come into it, it's just like someone threw together. There's an original art team there, but like it's just Unreal 5 base functions.
Oh wait, did
Like
they
you
make
could see it so
Craftopia? That
They
makes
did.
so much sense. That
And you
I'm
clearly
I
see the
never
building.
played it, but it's literally this is literally just Craftopia. Yeah,
Yeah, and Max and I
they
did play
just
Craftopia.
Craftopia and
We've
Pokemon.
seen a lot of like how they're similar.
Yeah,
But especially they've like made it way better. Especially it's way prettier now that it's in Unreal Engine 5.
sure,
Um,
sure.
So
but
Craftopia sucks, so it's not hard to be better than that.
and
That game's
also why you can
It's gonna say it
maybe
bluntly, not good.
I think
Yeah,
it was
it always
fine. I
looked
didn't
like
think
a
it was
tech demo to
horrible.
me. Like the
I think it was
Steam
that right.
page made it look like a I was like, this would be cool if it was a game, but this looks like a tech demo.
That's what I've described. I mean, Palworld I think is the same thing where it just feels like they were
I
trying a bunch of different things and just
Yes,
threw them all together.
I 100% agree that Palworld feels very much like a slice, like a vertical slice tech demo shown at a conference, but just finished
When what?
into a game, which again is fine. It's a fun game. I'm enjoying it more than I thought I would, so it's okay. But yeah, I 100% agree.
And I remember, so I sent the message, and Packy, you were like, "Wait, is that game actually good?" Like you had the same, he had the same impression as you, James. Were like,
Yeah,
Packy, you just assumed it was
Yeah,
gonna
I had
be
to be
shit
convinced to play
looking
this
at
game.
it.
yeah. I mean,
I was
look at it.
convinced
It
to
looks
play a game
terrible.
before it came out.
It
And I
looks
saw
like
initial
it'd be
early
garbage.
reviews, and people were dumping on it. They were like, it's a basic survival craft, especially because I think the beginning of this game is not enticing at all. You have to
You
get to
actually get, yeah, I
is
guess.
where once you get your first flying mount, you've made the progress in the game to really open it
Jacob's
up,
got that.
and
I haven't gotten one yet.
that's when you'll start to like it. Admittedly, I was like, and I was very babied in that I had a 4-person server that got abandoned
Sure.
and left to me, and they got me for free to the point of having flying and having a basic
Yeah.
base, and then I took that and like launched into the what I think is best part of the game.
Yeah.
I do think at the other end, like I'm hitting the point, and I think many survival crafting suffer from this, where they like expect more grinding and like it just way slows down as you're about to finish.
Mhm.
So I can clearly see I'm entering the zones where that's going to be the case. But the ride to get to that point, and I think that this as well was going to be very, very fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to be convinced
and
because I
then-
saw it was coming out and picked another. I picked Elden Ring. Finally, I finally tried
Oh.
Elden.
No, but then Palworld broke it. No, you
Exactly.
gotta play Elden Ring. No.
And I liked Elden Ring.
Rings
But
are
it was like
incredible.
this was on Game Pass and I'm subscribed, so I'm like it's temporary, and especially it's a survival crafting that we
Yeah.
do not how Xbox works do the multiplayer because it doesn't have a persisting server. But initially when I was looking at it, it was like, hey, it's on a subscription and it's going to be multiplayer. Like all of our friends were getting into it, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna go try this, and then yeah, became friggin' obsessed. And so I will go back to Elden Ring, but the only
Good.
game that exists now is Pokemon. Pokemon.
James, I'm not playing. I haven't played it in like over a week because
I
I
only
don't
played
want to
Jake
play it by
once.
myself. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't want to play by myself. Or it's not. That's not even true. I would play it by myself if it wasn't on my own world, right? It's just that, right? It's just the
Yeah.
friction points of shared co-op progression, right?
Yeah.
Like that is obviously then disappointing that about the feature parity difference between Steam and the Xbox release. And like, if they get to the point in the future where, they have true crossplay and all that stuff, like that'll be great. And I'll certainly pick it up back then. But like in the meantime, like I'm not playing it. Like I think it's fun. I think it's got a lot of rough edges and a lot of friction points, but like I think it's super fun. But yeah, until I can, play on my own speed, but still, feel like I'm meaningfully contributing to, packing space or something like that, I'm not going to be playing it.
Yeah.
So,
I agree. Like,
which
Jacob
actually,
is all about it, but I'm not there.
Packy, at the beginning, you mentioned, another feature parity difference, the naming of pals on Steam version and not on Xbox. And yeah, I
You
did.
can't do that on Xbox? What?
Yeah, I was like, why can't you
That's
do
so
this? Right?
weird.
And it's because it's coming, right? It's just
We're
like
several
I
versions
think
behind.
they're a couple versions behind, and so like it'll get there. Um, but yeah, no, I
And I
mean it's
think
like
it'll
that's
start to
so
get
weird they
faster
can't
too.
do it.
Well,
I think
it's been a problem for a long time for small games, and because it's a smaller company, like AAA games and others seem to have an agreement or something with Xbox, where they get priority in these
that's
reviews
fair.
that the updates
Yeah.
get gone through. I
Yeah.
played, I'm sure you played them too. Like I played smaller indie games that like the developers would be on their subreddit or whatever, like openly apologizing about the state of the Xbox or general console versions because they're like,
Yeah.
what? They are just not reviewing these. Like they've been sitting on the queue for weeks, months.
Yeah.
Like we would do more if they let us. So like that was one of my favorites, Rivals of Aether. Like they gave up on the console version, and the lead dev for that game worked at Microsoft. Like there's,
God.
which just that doesn't affect anything, but it's just like just really highlights. It's just an irony to the problem. It's like come on. So
Yeah, for sure.
it's a bummer.
I mean, I forgot what I was gonna say. I don't know.
But now that Palworld is bigger, I think they will get special treatment because they're bringing more money in, and they're a big thing on Game Pass. So I think they will.
Oh, which yeah, like whoever signed that deal, fucking they did good.
Oh
Because
yeah.
I guarantee
He's having
it
a great day
wasn't
at the
worth
office
it.
this
Or
week.
like that's like
They
that
probably
dude
did
should just
nothing.
fucking take a month paid vacation at this point because like
Really was
motherfucker
big.
deserves it.
Because it was not new to Palworld, which would have been an incredible find. It was because that's how I encountered Craftopia. Is Craftopia was also on Game Pass, so they must have made a deal with this company a long time ago, or they made the same deal again.
Or just have a good working relationship. Yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
hey, we put Craftopia on. We're making a new one. Yeah, no, that dude is just he's sitting pretty.
But it's
Whoever,
great. I think it's also
dude
like
or
part of
dudette,
why Palworld blew up. Like I don't think Palworld blows up if it's solely on Steam. Like I
I
think
think it still would have because it's $30. I think it's the thing. I think both helps, for sure. But I think $30 it still would have blown up is the thing. If it was 70, fuck no, it wouldn't have.
well, absolutely not. But it's more like sometimes I don't know, 30 still.
I mean, you
That
can look
game
at
you're willing to just try
what
on.
Valheim did too, with one being one of the most stable early access games that I've ever played, like on release.
Yeah.
Valheim was like basically a finished game. It was incredibly cheap for like when it came out, and it was just like good, and it still is good. The only thing they did wrong is they have murdered their like inertia because they have the slowest fucking updates of any game I think I've ever played. And like I understand they were a small team, but like so is the Against the Storm people, and they put out a billion
Crazy.
updates every
They
month.
still do.
So they still do. So it's not a complete excuse or a reason, but yeah.
It is still.
I remember what I was gonna say.
Sorry, do it.
Speaking of the cadence of updates, they should, and I don't know if they have or will do in the future, but they should be more lenient on the review process on games that are in early access, is in my opinion, right? Because like you already have that flag essentially on it that basically says this game's gonna be jank as fuck, right? So like how valuable is the review process really when you already know that game's gonna be jank as fuck?
I don't even think because we've seen a lot of crashes and stuff like that on console of various games. I imagine security and stuff like that is a big part of it. Who knows? We'll have
Yeah,
to
I think
look
it's
into what this review process
definitely
is.
to like
It
they
needs to be
catch a
faster.
major obvious like pop-up that says "fuck you, fuck Xbox, fuck Microsoft," right? Like they still want to get
Sure.
something like that.
But even like it's
Um,
crazy with how much higher volume Steam has for its games, how quicker updates go through. And it's not like, security isn't a concern on a PC game. So it is eye-opening how much slower it is. Thank God Xbox still has Nintendo, so they can point and be like, we're not the worst. Like people won't even develop for them. But it really could be better. And it's just, in games that explode like this and the developer gets really excited and they're like, we would love to push like updates every single day for you to capitalize on this momentum, but Xbox is hamstringing us here. They just need to avoid that. situation. I think they'll be
What
fine.
is another absolutely baffling thing about this game? It supports the last gen of consoles, which is just fucking stupid, quite frankly. Like, it's just fucking dumb. Like, they just shouldn't. Like,
Probably just
why
crashes
why
all
would
the
you?
time.
Like I think
It
I think
crashes
that's
on
all
Series
like,
X.
it runs
Switched
at like
over to PC.
540p or some shit. Like it is the like it's I don't fucking know why. I don't know why the fuck they're supporting last gen consoles, but they are, which is interesting.
No, not
Not
the same
good.
reason a lot of people do. It's because a shockingly high percentage of people are still playing on last gen consoles.
Yeah,
Like, it's crazy. As of like last year, it was like 70%. Like, not even kidding.
that's actually ridiculous.
Not expensive. And there was the chip shortage, really slowed down the rate at which people acquired them. And because of backwards compatibility that people were doing from the start, there's less motivation to move forward, especially for
Very
Xbox.
true.
Xbox is way more generous about it than like PlayStation is really the ones who've come down and been like, no more last gen. We're going to have a series of games that do not support it. But Xbox has been way more lenient because that's their thing. That game on any thing with a chip.
Well, I think they've said they at this point they're not doing any first party stuff on last gen, and their response is if you want to play first party games on last gen, you stream them, which is actually, in my opinion, a
Yeah.
perfectly valid fucking like that is a very acceptable option, as opposed to, oh, if you want to play offline, use an Xbox 360. That was a much worse like, fucking like I want to do X. Well, fuck you, do Y instead, right? Like,
I do think that's a great reason, but I also think the timing at which they made the switch and then gave that reason was very key. I think at this point, because they've introduced that requirement so late, people are like, "Oh, you guys are so nice for providing this as you make the inevitable switch." Whereas if they had done that right when the Series X came out and been like, "First party, new consoles only, stream it or get our new console,"
sure.
people would have been so mad. And it would have been an equally valid reason at both points in time, but it's just like I think that amount of time really made a difference in how it was received.
Let's see. On a not Palworld note, like I mentioned, I have not been playing it. I bought Chronos before the Ashes.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, I
that's
saw you
alright.
playing that. What is that game?
It's
It is a
it ties into
prequel to
Remnant.
Remnant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw a review in the store, and the review was so accurate. It was, I bought this expecting to play a shitty game for more story and lore, and instead I got a pretty good game, and it's pretty fucking accurate. I also was expecting a very mediocre to bad game, and so far I mean, it's just like a basic Souls-like, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not like super good, it's not super deep or whatever, but like it is very solid. And when your expectations are low as fuck, therefore it's
Yeah, it's always great. Does that one have the like aging mechanic as one of its key gimmicks? Is it that
It
one?
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the other cool thing about it is so you start out at 18 years old, and every time you die, you get a year older. And
Like,
so when you level up, you have
I didn't know
stats.
Sifu stole that idea. I thought Sifu had such a cool, unique idea.
No, no,
They
no.
took it.
But and then it's the other kind of thing is interesting is so when you level up, you can pick your stats, right? And when you're young, your stat points go further into like strength and agility, for example. And then when you're older and more frail, like putting points into those stats like isn't as effective because you're an old fucking man at that point, right? And so then they can go further elsewhere and like the arcane wisdom, knowledge shit. I know it's a solid fucking game. Again, I picked it up on sale. I was expecting
Decent.
jack shit, and I have been thoroughly enjoying it.
It's a melee game.
Mm-hmm.
It's not guns.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's just basic Souls-like, but with aging is kind of what it is. Oh, and then the other thing is like when you hit milestones, like you hit, I think it's milestones of 20 years, so like 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 maybe, you get a choice of a thing. And so it's like I just turned 40 or something, and it was like, oh, I can pick like a bigger dodge window or like bigger like parry window or something like that. I don't know. It's good, solid. Like, and I will say it feels very backtrack simulatory, which to be fair, so many of these games are. It's
Yeah.
literally just like there's 2 paths, and you go down the one, and then you get the thing, and it's like, well, what do I do with this thing? I don't know. Maybe I should backtrack to that other thing I couldn't open before. Right? I mean, it's fucking Backtrack Simulator. Which, I mean, they have things, things to make that easier. Like they have backtrack tiles sorry, not tiles, because it's not procedurally generated. The world's all set. Backtrack pieces or whatever, doors that you unlock from the other side, right? So
Shortcuts.
but yeah, pretty good. If you enjoy Dark Souls games, let me rephrase that. If you enjoy Souls-like melee games and you like Remnant, I would recommend Chronos Before the Ashes.
Here is the first new non-Souls game option for you. Nobody else has made one of these. It's a rare
I know, right? You have to already want to play this, but
I mean,
like again, my expectations were fucking low, right? My expectations were low as shit. But
it is nice when you go to like expand on the lore of a game series you've gotten into, and like because of that, you're going to play the game one way or the other, and then for it to actually be decent feels good.
Yeah,
especially games that are made a while ago. It's so tough for me to like a game that was made more than like.
I think it was initially like a VR game, and then they like ported / remastered it to console version.
That sounds right.
VR?
Yes, it was a VR game in 2016. Which is it? I mean, I would actually now also be interested in trying it in VR. Like that would be kind of interesting. I need to go back to Asgard's Wrath 2 though. Actually, speaking of melee VR games.
Oh yeah, that was going well, right? You liked it.
I was enjoying it. I was getting a little motion sick and nauseous, and so I worry because I've set it down for a while that's gonna pick back up again. And so I'll probably have to ease myself back into it.
Quite possible.
Yeah. All right, I gotta run though. It's great chatting with y'all. And adios. Thank you everybody for listening to Jetpack Swords.
Leader.